Everyone, I am Dr. D.KRUPA, Associate Professor of Anatomy with more than 8 years of global experience. I taught in many countries to MBBS, nursing and postgraduate international students. And I am a member of American Association of Anatomists. I have authored 8 textbooks in human anatomy, published more than 56 technical papers, and attended more than 100 plus international conferences. And I am the editorial board member of IMRF research journals. I had the opportunity to deliver talks on invitation in California, Canada, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines and China. In the year 2011, I was awarded with Dr. Jayavelu Memorial Award of 2010. Also in the years 2012 and 13, awarded as the best faculty of human anatomy by German scientists. In the year 2014, I am awarded with IMRF Excellence Award in Human Anatomy. Good evening to everyone. I am Dr. Daniel, Associate Professor of Anatomy. Today our webinar topic on foodborne diseases. Small changes makes big differences. Today we are going to discuss about the effects of usage of plastics and aluminum foil on human health. Our aim of our study and our presentation is to investigate the effects of the endocrine disrupting chemicals, that is bisphenols, on the reproductive parameters and also the other parameters. Here I use the materials and methods. The model organism is the Daniel of the zebrafish. The chemical compounds here I have tabulated to bisphenol A, bisphenol S, bisphenol F and aluminum foil. And I have given the CAS numbers and their functions. The main functions of these chemicals are the endocrine disrupting chemicals, and we use the aquatic system for the aquarium preparation, and the aquarium we have maintained around 26 to 30 degrees room temperature, and the lightning conditions we fixed daylight around 14 to 10 hours and light day night around the remaining rest of the 8 to 10 hours. The fish were fed 3 times a day with their variety of diet consisting of artemia fish, that is brine shrimp. And here in the aquatic culture, in the aquarium, we have the 2 genderistic fishes, that is male and female. And the male and female zebrafishes can be identified. The typical body shape of the male zebrafish is very slender and compared to that of the female. Males tends to be much more active than the female zebrafish. And when we see the anatomy of the zebrafish, here we can see all the organs. I can see in the picture, so where all the organs have been marked from the gills, the heart, kidneys, the pneumatic duct, the dorsal muscles, melanocytes, the right testis, and all the other side left testis is located, but in this image we cannot able to focus on this. And we can see the swim bladder, the urogenital port, and also the organs, the heart, the spleen, and the pancreas, and also the intestinal buds. You can look onto this picture quite a while after some time, and then we move on to the rest of the chemicals. The organic chemicals such as cleaning materials, fungicides, pesticides, herbicides, paints, plastics and solvents have potential to be an endocrine disrupting chemicals. Out of the endocrine disrupting chemicals, all these chemicals can cause lethal effects on human body and also onto the animals, causing reproductive systems effects. The main endocrine disrupting chemicals that can affect our human body and also particularly the reproductive healthcare system, those chemicals are the endocrine disruptors. We are going to name them as bisphenols. Bisphenols are widely known as bisphenol A, F, and S. Among the factors causing both male and female infertility, one of the most debated is the exposure of the environmental contaminants. So what are the environmental contaminants? Our topics are today are one of the plastics, and also the next second half is the aluminum foils. So let me talk about these plastics. Due to high volume of generation of plastics and low production costs, consumers typically use many plastic items once before discarding them. Environmental pollutants, especially endocrine disrupting chemicals, they have side effects on the reproductive system and also the other systems. The zebrafish can be stimulated in the laboratory to breed throughout the year, and development from the fertilized egg to the reproductive stage, it almost takes around the total time 3 to 4 months. The fish were acclimatized for 48 hours before starting the bisphenol treatment. The zebrafish were divided into groups, that is control group and the experimental groups. And these groups received 1% dimethyl sulfoxide DMSO and treated with 3 mg per liter and 5 mg per liter endocrine disrupting chemicals, that is, we are using bisphenols. And in the bisphenols, we categorize it into sub 3 groups, that is bisphenol A, F, and S, with an increasing quantity levels, and this continued for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks of this bisphenol treatments, animals were lethally anesthetized. Histopathology. Zebrafishes were taken out after 24, 48, 72, 96, 120, 144, 168 hours after exposure of bisphenols. And later they are anesthetized and ice water, and the organs are fixed in Borne's fixator. Tissues were dehydrated and embedded in paraffin wax, sectioned, stained with hematoxylin and eosin and toluidine blue solutions, and observed for the morphology and the developmental stages of the gametogenesis. And the fish is currently used for studying the functions of genes to create animal models for human diseases and to develop new human drugs. For 81% of all human genes, a corresponding zebrafish gene has been identified. Especially the chemical compound bisphenols A, F, S has drawn attention from the reproductive science community due to its ubiquitous presence in day-to-day life. Its toxic action appears to mainly affect the male and female reproductive systems, directly impacting the fertility. More than 80% of teenagers have traces of the chemical compound in their bodies. The chemical known as bisphenol A can be found in plastic containers, water bottles, till receipts, on the inside of cans and bottle tops, plastic packaging, and tubings. There is growing evidence that exposure to endocrine disrupting chemicals may be associated with adverse effect outcomes. At the present time, since it is difficult to identify which food and packaging contains bisphenol A, it is not possible to make that choice. So here in this picture, I am showing you the 7 ways and 7 different types of plastics, number 1 to 7, and you can observe during your free time. Number 1, PET, that is polyethylene tetraphthalate, and HDPE, high density polyethylene, and V, vinyl, LDPE, low density polyethylene, and 5 PP, that is polypropylene, PS, polytrin, 7 others. And there are 7 ways we classified the plastics. And in 7 different categories, 7 different usage of plastics have been found. That is, we found that in the first type we have is the soda bottles, water bottles, shampoo bottles, and wash bottles, and others. And in the second variety of high density polyethylene, we can identify the juice bags, detergent bottles, yogurts, grocery bags. And in the third type of plastics, we can find under vinyl, that is clear food packaging and shampoo bottles. And in the fourth way of low density polyethylene plastics, we can see the bread bags, frozen food bags, and other bottles, that is like for the honey and etc. And in polypropylene plastic varieties, we can see the ketchup bottles, yogurt, and other tubs. And in polystyrene, we can see the trays, egg trays, and cups and plates. And in others, we can see the other varieties of juice bottles and many other low quality of plastics can be used in different forms. So like in our day-to-day life, we are using different varieties and different qualities and different other percentiles of plastics we are using. So in this possible manner, we have fitted the different ways of plastics into 7 categories. So here, avoiding plastic packaging which contains bisphenol A, avoiding plastic named under BPA free. But still, as we all know, BPA free we are using in many other ways of plastics, but still we need to be aware of our own health conditions to safeguard ourselves. Even we need to restrict ourselves, even though which contains and which are named as BPA free. Instead of this BPA free, in what form they are made up of? They are also made up of other forms of bisphenols, that is bisphenol S and bisphenol F. So we don't find anywhere bisphenol S free, bisphenol F free. We only identify bisphenol A free. So we need to be careful enough in usage of these plastics. So in order to avoid these things, in what way I can able to use my day-to-day life? We can switch from plastics to stainless steel or either to glass materials. So say no to plastics. Avoid tin food also. And what are all the other factors which damages our health apart from the reproductive disorders? Other different health problems due to BPA, bisphenol A are heart diseases, type 2 diabetes, an increase of the body weight, and the development of fetal brain, breast cancer, prostate cancer, asthma, etc. And this is the first phase where we are discussing about the small changes which are changing to big changes in our day-to-day life. The day-to-day life we use a small bag, that is carry bag, that is a plastics. When usage of these plastics, as just now we discussed, what are the problems we are experiencing in our day-to-day life of reproductive disorders or heart diseases or diabetes or the neurological symptoms or canceristic conditions, asthma. So better not to fall in these conditions, so that say no to plastics. And another way we can discuss regarding the other sources where the human can affect. The second phase of our discussion is we will talk about the aluminium and the sources of aluminium where we can find. Aluminium and its compounds comprise about 8 percentile of the Earth's surface. Aluminium occurs naturally in silicates, cryolite, and bauxite rock. Bauxite is the most important raw material used in the production of aluminium. Aluminium is also recycled from scrap. The largest markets for aluminium metal and its alloys are in transportation, building and construction, packaging, and in electrical equipments. Aluminum powders are also used in pigments, paints, fuel, additives, explosive, and propellants. And also the other sources of human exposure for aluminum are aluminum oxides are used as food additives and in the manufacture of abrasives, refractories, ceramics, electrical insulators, catalysts, paper, spark plugs, light bulbs, artificial gems, alloys, glass and heat resistant fibers. Aluminum hydroxide is also used widely in pharmaceutical industries and also in personal care products. Food related use of aluminum compounds includes preservatives, fillers, coloring agents, anti-caking agents, emulsifiers and baking powders. Soy-based infant formula can contain aluminum too. Natural aluminum minerals, especially bentonite and zeolite, are also used in water purification, sugar refining, brewing and paper industries. Aluminum. Aluminum is present in different quantities in salt, spices, corn, tea and other foods. Not only that, it is also used during the purification process of water, that is in the form of aluminum sulfate, and thus may be present in water. Even aluminum is present in medicines like antacids, they may contain aluminum. Wrapping food in aluminum foil is a common practice, especially whether it is to store or either to cook. This may not be a great idea though. Here in this picture we can see different types of foods we can see here. We can see the sweets, fruits, vegetables, meat and many ways. All these food varieties are being covered up or packed are layered by this aluminum thin layer of foils. And this we observe in our day-to-day life. And also many even they are practicing in their own lifestyles. So today our concern to our own health, the small things are making a big differences in our human health. See here we are overizing the meat. We are cooking the meat on the aluminum foil and we are consuming the sweets daily which are covered with aluminum foil. We can see different varieties of sweets there. We can see the meat there and we can see the cool drink bottles. Over the top we have the cover. When we remove that thing, and they are made up of aluminum foil, they act as covers. And even we drink the juice packets, we see the common outer advertisements of different brands, but when we layer out that layer, and the inner layer is made up of a thin layer of aluminum foil, that was I have marked in the central image there. So in this way we are using aluminum in our day-to-day life in many forms, and I request say no to aluminum because aluminum is naturally occurring metal in the earth. We are also exposed to small amounts either by air or by food or by water or by soil. And even people or many are confident enough, yes, I can use aluminum because past research says that yes, we can use aluminum because they don't have any physiological role on the human body. But current trend and running research, we need to found that we need to be safeguard ourselves that we should say no to aluminum because they have some role in our human body, particularly on particular systems. I'll come back to those systems. And even according to WHO, World Health Organization, the acceptable dosage of aluminum per day was being limited. The limited dosage of aluminum per day, you should not exceed more than 1 milligram of aluminum per day in our food. But unfortunately, we are using and we are consuming per day 9 milligrams of aluminum in our food in various forms. And also the IARC, International Agency for Research on Cancer, has also stated that aluminum has not been classified with respect to carcinogenicity, but however, aluminum production has been classified under carcinogenic to human by IARC. So we need to safeguard ourselves, we need to say no, or we need to stay away from the usage of aluminum and other foils. And we look into the kinetics and metabolism of aluminum foil and aluminum. So the kinetics and the metabolism regarding are the normal plasma aluminum concentrated in our human body is 1 to mu milligrams per liter. Normal tissue aluminum concentrations are greater in lung. Why they are greater in lung? Because due to the inhalation, that is due to the entrapment of particles from the environment. Approximately the most phase where more consumption of aluminum and deposition takes place in bone, that is 60 percentile, and the next more percentile we can see in lung, 25 percentile, and remaining all other organs and systems will carry even less percentiles, but the effect of disease is more. Even in muscle it is 10 percentile, liver is 1 percentile, and even in brain it is 1 percentile. Greater than 95 percentile of aluminum we consume either by inhalation or by ingestion or whatever it may be. They are eliminated by kidney by 95 percentile and 2 percentile through bile. Depending on the type of and the route of exposure, aluminum clearance has been characterized and they have multiple half-lives and they are estimated either in hours, days and years. And the most of the aluminum we consume, they will be eliminated within the first week of time span. We found out that the increased levels of aluminum can cause a negativity which affects our brain function. So that I can name in a single word, aluminum is a neurotoxin, because overexposure to aluminum can cause memory impairment, learning difficulties, central nervous system disorders, even Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and also chromosomal disorders. Aluminum can enter the bloodstream and passes through the gastrointestinal tract, and also they can enter the brain through the bloodstream. This can cause severe health problems in people, especially even in infants and elders and people with kidney disease. Cooking with aluminum foil can cause levels of aluminum in food that are unacceptable. The acceptable range is 1 milligram per day, but we are consuming 9 milligram plus per day. So it is unacceptable. When it is heated at high temperatures, the heating process can cause aluminum leaching. That leaching will contaminate the type of food we are cooking. And more aluminum leaching occurs when the food contained with the lemon juice or the tomato juice, etc. And also, apart from these neurotoxins, the humans also are affected by this aluminum and they have the respiratory complaints like asthma-like symptoms known as protruding asthma. They have been the most intensively investigated respiratory effect. And also patient complaints with wheezing, dyspnea and impaired lung function. And neuropsychiatric symptoms includes loss of coordination, loss of memory and problems with balance. The occurrence of contact dermatitis and irritant dermatitis. Impact of aluminum containing antacids in human pregnancy, and also even it affects the lactation. And also patient complains with anemia, bone disease because it's also carrying more than 65%, and also dialysis encephalopathy are the most commonly reported complications of aluminum exposure. And we have many epidemiological studies. The recent epidemiological studies have reported that occupational exposure to aluminum dust and filling which results in recurrent emphysema and increased risk of developing lung cancer or bladder cancer for working in the aluminum industry. So those who are working in aluminum industry, obviously they should take care of themselves much more. And also other epidemiological studies clearly results. They have undertaken the possible carcinogenic risks such as breast cancer of antiperspirants. Excessive amount of aluminum, there are reports of damage to bone and CNS and other target organs. Yes, aluminum is a neurotoxin because increased levels, as we previously discussed, it accounts almost 1 percentile of the total human body. But even increased levels of that 1 percentile of aluminum are also linked to brittle bones and osteoporosis, calcium deficiency in the body, and also the long-term consumption or oral usage of aluminum intake in hemodialysis patients results in high prevalence of aluminum associated bone disease. Then have consumed, and many people have consumed a lot of aluminum per day, more than 9 milligrams plus or minus. But the reference range is 1 milligram to 2, but better to be at 1 milligram per day. So a very good predictor of aluminum body burden, which how can I estimate my aluminum levels? Number one test is bone aluminum test. Second one, the dysperoxamine challenge test. The third one is the measurement of serum IPTS, parathyroid hormone. So in conclusion, avoid aluminum foil packaging foods so that we can be away from all these reproductive disorders for plastics, and even for aluminum, the respiratory disorders, the neuropsychiatric disorders, and other disorders. So avoiding aluminum foil packaging foods is a good take-home message. And the other alternative source of aluminum foil, again switching to stainless steel or to glass materials. Estimation of aluminum. It's a very good predictor of the aluminum body burden, which is better estimated by 3 tests. Number 1, bone aluminum. Number 2, dysperoxamine challenge test. Number 3, measurement of serum IPTH parathyroid hormone. And in conclusion, avoid aluminum foil packaging foods, switching to stainless steel and glass materials. And in closure, say no to plastics and say no to aluminum foil for the betterment of the society and our health longevity. Thank you.
Opportunity to thank Dr. D.R.DANIEL for his informative speech on foodborne diseases, small changes, big differences. Today, junk food and packed food has become the main course in daily life, but shocking, we ourselves are killing our immunity. I believe that today Dr. Daniel's talk will bring some change in our daily course. Thank you, sir. We congratulate Dr. Daniel and honor him today with the honors title Red Talks Global Speaker. I thank all the virtual audience for participating in the interesting and informative webinar. Please click the attendance button and submit your attendance. Post your questions to the speaker in the questionnaire button. They'll be taken up after this webinar and will be answered shortly on individual WhatsApp. Also, please fill the feedback form by clicking the feedback tab. All the enrolled delegates shall receive e-certificates in 3 working days from now. www.redtalks.net is our official website. Please visit for the upcoming programs. You may also like us on our Facebook, facebook.com/redtalksdaily. Every Wednesday and Saturday, we have regular talks during 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. We encourage you all to join with us. Thank you all. Signing off, Dr. Ratnakar, Director, Red Talks Daily.